if you want to know. Hi everyone. Why I'm here. I'm an artist and designer from Berlin. I'm the founder of Salon.io, an easy no-code website builder. I'm an early Steemit user from 2016. I was here in Amsterdam for the first SteamFest. It was legendary. Shout out to Roland. Steem was the entry drug to crypto for me, and was definitely the first cryptocurrency I used heavily. For an artist, photographer, and entrepreneur like me, Steemit was inspiring and showing what could happen if you attach crypto, digital money, to a blogging platform. Thanks to Steemit, I began to understand concepts of blockchain, consensus algorithms. Well, I thought I did understand. I learned about Bitcoin because of Ian Grigg's posts on Steemit. From 2017, I began researching for years and collecting everything I could find about Bitcoin and its origins. My research turned into a public website by the name ohmysatoshi.com. I wanted to go to the roots of all of it. I wanted to know who is Satoshi Nakamoto. I wanted to know who or what created Bitcoin and why. When I saw the announcement to the HiveFest, I had the feeling somehow this would be the perfect opportunity to go full circle. After all, we are all here coming together because of Satoshi Nakamoto, because of the invention of Bitcoin. And before I start, a trigger warning. The story you will hear today will be hard to believe. You may find information too exaggerated, too far-fetched, or simply unbelievable. But nevertheless, this is what appears to be the truth. Okay, let's start. So you see this image of this T-shirt where it says, "Have you seen this man?" Obviously, this is a wrong Satoshi Nakamoto. He was dragged into the public. Oh, sorry. Okay. Missing, yeah. So it's quite interesting that such a world-famous person or inventor keeps being hiding. Nobody knows his face. Nobody knows the real person behind him. And it's a real mystery. And people have to cope with it. And what they did, they made an image of himself, of Satoshi Nakamoto. This is the Satoshi statue set up in Hungary, I think 2 years ago. And this is the image most people have of Satoshi Nakamoto. A faceless, hoodie-wearing anon developer, a hero. What I experienced, What I experienced again and again during my research, things are more often than not the opposite of what you think they are. Let's look at an actual photo of Satoshi Nakamoto. Oh, that's not the actual image. Comes later. Yeah, but still this is interesting because if you spend your time with Bitcoin and blockchain, and you want to know who invented it. Is it something like a think tank, or is it like military invention? Who did it? And it turns out it was this guy. And this is a much more accurate image of Satoshi Nakamoto, or the person behind it. And this is actually the first Satoshi sighting happened in the Netherlands, 1 hour from here in Limte, at the hacker conference, What the Hack? And we know this because there's a testimony 3 years before the release of the white paper. A young man introduces himself as Satoshi Nakamoto and makes an appearance at What the Hack, an outdoor hacker conference held in Limte, Netherlands. Satoshi Nakamoto talks with Joseph van Perling, a recognized network design architect for fault-tolerant globe-spanning networks and applications, about Bitcoin and how he was inspired by Bernard von Nothaus, the creator of the Liberty Dollar. Only 16 years later, fast forward in February 2021, when BTC price was around 50,000 USD, Craig Wright got interviewed by the Sunday Times. He said, "I invented Bitcoin. Now it's a Ponzi scheme. I went from stupidly rich to insanely rich. Technically, my family is one of the richest in the world now because of insanity." These are tough words. Let's start over. 1970, Craig Wright is born in Brisbane, Australia. This picture shows his two sisters, Danny and Lisa. And interestingly, Danny, the youngest one, she wrote a blog post after Craig got doxxed, or Satoshi got doxxed. And she writes a little bit longer post, but it's very interesting. That's her, by the way. Is he Satoshi or is he my brother? That's the title of the post. Let me tell you a little bit about my brother. He's actually a pretty amazing guy, but I'd never tell him that. He's just another stinky, annoying older brother, or is he? From the time Craig Wright was young, he was blatantly different to the other kids. A deep thinker from an extremely young age with ideas that a crazy man would be thought in his element preaching. There was Craig, then Lisa, and then me, all born 18 months after one another, almost to the day. Mom was really young, and if I was to be honest, not ready for motherhood. We had a tumultuous childhood, to say at least. As kids, we saw and lived through things that no child should ever see or never or even know about. But we stayed a close family. As a child, became the rebellious, angry rebel as my way of coping. Craig always seemed to stay calm. He was almost hermit-like at times and would lock himself away in his room for hours on end. In there, he would be studying, reading, thinking, creating, discovering. We spent a lot of time as kids at our Nana and Pop's house. We would go there most afternoons after school. When my mom was going out, I wouldn't really see Craig that much here either. Here also, he would disappear for hours with Pop, thinking, creating, discovering. The males in my family were like crazy professors. I didn't get it. I didn't get them or understood them, but had great respect. At school, Craig found some close friends, but could also be subject of bullying at times. Have you ever known a kid who, from as young as I can remember, has said they would one day create something that would change the world? I'm serious. What kind of kid says that? Well, if you know Craig, right, and what he has achieved now, you would totally get it. My question sometimes is, was he ever a kid? He knew from being a child that he had a path that would create something that could essentially change the world and life as we know it. I have no idea now how. I would often think that Craig and Pop were aliens or time travelers who knew things. My amazing Pop was the first person in Brisbane to build a color television. Somehow, his electronic brain created it. Craig kept to his crusade of wanting to learn and know everything. There was a stage as a teenager where he was going to be a builder, wallpaperer, go to uni, be a chef, be a computer scientist. Well, the truth to behold, he learned it all. He wanted to know everything. He had the knack to get on people's nerves at times too, to let them know that he knows everything. Would you mess with Craig though? No way. Craig has a temper, nobody walks over him. Craig also is a big softie too, but won't let it onto that too often. To say Craig was eccentric was to say the least. As I say above, is he Satoshi or is he my brother? I remember on occasion when I was 16 years old and going down to the local park with my friends to hang out. When we got there, there was a crazy guy in head-to-toe black ninja gear with his sword practicing martial arts. we did what any 16-year-old girls would do. We turned around, ran back home as fast as we could, and ran through the house screaming to tell anybody who would listen about this crazy guy at the park. Once all of the excitement wore down and we were relaxed, we heard the door. Who would walk in? But the crazy ninja. What does every 16-year-old group of girls do? We all started screaming again. Craig took off his wrap, cover over his face, and looked perplexed as to why we were making so much commotion. To this day, I still see the events clearly when I heard the name Satoshi. I knew. So this is Craig in his early 20s as a chef. And I'm now quoting Craig. Grandpa cracked the Japanese version of the Enigma code. I've been programming since 1979, involved in developing internet protocols like DNS in the 80s, joined Air Force in the late 80s. In 1989, I started a double degree at the University of Queensland, dropped out in 1992 after my third year. I have a reason for this. I had cancer. Founded Australia's first ISP in 1991, sold it to a larger ISP, Pegasus, then worked for Aussie Stock Exchange in cybersecurity. We did the Aussie Olympics in 2000. We were an IBM partner. In Australia, we worked for the police, set up network for stock exchange's first peer-to-peer broker communication network. So this is what Craig did in his 20s. And around the time, 1994, Amsterdam was actually the hotspot for digital currencies. It was a totally new subject, and a cryptographer by the name David Chaum set up shop in Amsterdam. And I'm now quoting from a blog post from Stephen Levy. Clouds e-money, that's what I want. Clouds gather over Amsterdam as I ride into the city center after a day at the headquarters of DigiCash, a company whose mission is to change the world through the introduction of anonymous digital money. I have been inundated with talk of smart cards and automated toll takers and tamper-proof observer chips and virtual coinage for anonymous network FTPS. I have made photocopies using a digital wallet, and I would have bought a soda from a DigiCash vending machine, but it was out of order. My fellow passenger and tour guide is David Chaum, the bearded and ponytailed founder of DigiCash and the inventor of cryptographic protocols that could catapult our currency system into the 21st century. They may, in the process, shatter the Orwellian predictions of a Big Brother dystopia, replacing them with a world in which the ease of electronic transactions is combined with the elegant anonymity of paying in cash. So this is the DigiCash team. 5 minutes? Okay. Craig got recently asked where does David Chaum's DigiCash fit into Bitcoin. He said, nowhere. Chaum's entire worldview is the opposite to that of Bitcoin. He is a shit to the souffle. Nothing Bitcoin has anything related to his ideas, nothing like his ideas. The only he was good for was to see how to not do something. BlackNet, 1997. Inspired by this new technology of cryptocurrencies, there was a researcher by the name Timothy May who came up with the idea of a peer-to-peer network where you could sell information and deal information with using a cryptocurrency. Craig Wright was in conversation, in discussion with Timothy May, and was intrigued by this idea. I quote, back in 1997, there was Tim May's Blacknet. May was a crypto anarchist who had been operating and agitating in the cyberpunk community since the mid-1980s. Computer technology is on the verge of providing the ability for individuals and groups to communicate and interact with each other in a totally anonymous manner, he wrote in the Crypto Anarchist Manifesto in 1988. Blacknet operated like a precursor to WikiLeaks, soliciting secret information with payments made by untraceable digital money. Where are we now? 2003, Craig's first dissertation, Gnarled Roots of Creation Theory. 2004, he worked for BDO. He founded other companies like Information Defense. De Morgan. Here he filed Blacknet. He took basically the idea, as I said, from Timothy May, removed the anonymity part, and made it something which Bitcoin could do. So I have to jump really. That's where he filed the research project Blacknet to the Australian Tax Office. He said it's the dumbest thing I ever did. The clicker. The white paper in 2008 with the Genesis message. The Times on 3rd of January 2009, Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks. He says, it's an anchor point showing no pre-mine, but the block itself can't have existed before January 3rd. It's a public attestation that there wasn't a secret chain or coins made before that date. Okay, I'm running out of time. I'm showing you quickly some pictures. This is the shed where Bitcoin was born. This is a look inside the shed. He had actually two farms where he was farming Bitcoins. He had to drive from Lisa Row to Bangalore to manage both venues, both sites. Then, soon after the launch of the network, there were discussions in the Bitcoin Talk Forum. And there's another intersection with Steemit because he talked to Daniel Larimer. And he said, where is that? If you don't believe it or don't get it, I don't have the time to try to convince you, in response to Bytemaster, which was Larimer. Okay, but he was too busy traveling to China, probably. And so let's go fast. Yes. Another thing, he gave us a riddle in Amsterdam in 2018, took this photo, and claims that there's 50 BCH, Bitcoin Cash, inside it. You can still claim it. Blacknet again. Okay, just I want to show the last video. That's actually the situation in the BSB community, also in the whole crypto. Everybody wants Craig to sign. He doesn't. He wants to make a proof of point. Currently, he's on court. Last week, he was in court in Oslo, fighting against defamation. And one last thing.
Hey, put the sheet back on, please.
Yeah, Craig.
Don't let that kid go.
Jesus Christ, Craig.
Wow.
No,
Incredible.
Hey, Jesus.
Can you do it one more time, Craig? No.
Give him the pumpkin.
Wow. Sweet.
Hey, put the sheath back on, please. Yeah, Craig.
Don't let that kid go.
Okay, thank you.
Wow. Thanks a lot, Stefan. Thank you. So please, Stefan, do make a big post about this.
Yeah.
On where?
Hive, maybe?
Oh, on Hive. Yes, good idea. Please do, because it was a little bit too much to how did you say?
Unpack?
To unpack during 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So please write a post.
I do.
Okay, thank you. Or maybe just post your notes, right? You can just post your notes and then.
Yeah.
Thanks. Questions? Okay, one question, yes? Who was Satoshi Nakamoto? That was the question, no? No. Say your question.
I just wanted to say that, I mean, I only saw part of that up, but I already thought that probably was him. As a fellow crazy Australian, doing crazy things, some Australians are like that, and he is one of them. Australians have changed the world in an unsung way before. The Australian general that invented combined arms warfare and won World War I for the Allies, John Monash, was also completely unsung because he was Australian, and no one can believe that nuts Australians can do things that really change the world, but we can, and I'm hoping to also.
Okay. Go